Hey, welcome everyone. This is another episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. It's Ryan and Tommy, with it's the conservative and the liberal. So it's us talking about political issues, but trying to find common ground as opposed to tearing each other down or resorting to ad hominem attacks on each other. So it's the civilized podcast, is what I like to call it. The So we're going to be talking about the Trump assassination, but we're going to talk about some. I mean, that's a lot of people have been talking about that. We're going to try to talk about some different aspects about it. And then there is the new California transgender law that was just signed into law, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So, quick word from our sponsor, Lux Bidets.
Lux for days.
You're not bideting. You are uncivilized.
You are. You're unclean and uncivilized. Ugh, gross. Gross, gross. I don't know that I have anything else to say. We say so much about it every time, but like, get a bidet. If you don't have a bidet, get a bidet. And we have a coupon code at the end. So,
Let's jump into it then.
okay.
So yeah, I'll talk about it. So, yeah, unless you're living under a rock, you may not know that there was an assassination attempt on Trump um, at a
Rally in
rally this
Pennsylvania.
last Saturday, and so his ear was shot. Basically giving a speech. Shooter got up on the roof, shot at him. He did turn his head, and it grazed his ear. And then, but some people were killed. One person was killed, and then two people seriously injured.
Yeah.
And so we're just gonna dive into some of the things about that. So I am very interested to see what your thoughts are on this. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. I actually on Sunday I just watched a lot of stuff about it because it was very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So first off, Ryan,
hmm
let's start with first. What do you think it was real?
Yes. Yes, I think it was real. You mean, do I think it was staged?
Right.
Because that
Well,
those
well,
those kind of conspiracies immediately popped up that people thought it was staged.
right.
Um, like at some level, I kind of like wanted to be staged because if that came out, then it would
It would be egg on their
undermine.
face.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was staged. I mean, the shooter was killed, right? Like he's dead.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, I don't think it was staged. I think it was real. I think it was a real attempt. Yeah, I mean,
A lot of people
unfortunate.
think it was staged.
I don't think it was staged. I think it was complicated, right? So I'm reading more about it, and I was just reading before we got on the podcast, and it turns out like all sorts of things happened to make it so the shooter was able to actually pull this off. And
Yes.
it's like it sounds like a lot of coincidences that it's just like, wow, if things had gone just slightly differently, he would have been caught before anything had ever happened. But lots of little things had to line up for him to be able to actually attempt this.
Yeah, I want to get into the breach in security.
hmm
Like, but first, I mean, so yeah, so you're like, this is real, this isn't
hmm
staged,
Yeah.
and um do you I'm assuming if you take that position, you would condemn anyone that was like peddling it as staged or
Yeah, I mean, occasionally we admit when we've got like, okay, this is just not like, I don't have any evidence for this and I'm going to say it, right? But I think both of us go after conspiracy theorists on a regular basis that like, I don't see any utility in conspiracy theories. Um, what's their evidence that it's staged, right? Like, I don't see any way to find this compelling that it was staged, right? So I haven't looked deeply into any of the claims that it was staged, but I mean, it was basically filmed, right? Like we have
right.
the footage, we have no one's doctoring anything.
It
We
would
know
be
immediately what
pretty
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a pretty elaborate ruse if it was
Yes.
staged. I agree. I mean, but
Right.
I was hearing there was these man on the street kind of interviews, and they're like, oh yeah, the Secret Service ran up and put blood on his ear, and this and that, right? And I just heard all this stuff, and I was like, all right, that's interesting. Um,
I mean, sure,
the
is it theoretically possible? Yes, but
right,
multiple people got shot, right? A
yes,
guy died, and he had blood on his ear, right? Yeah, okay. Like, if only the blood on the ear appeared and nothing else had happened,
Right.
then you'd have a stronger case of like, okay,
Maybe this is right.
yeah. But no, like a guy died, right? And two other people were shot and went to the hospital and they were critical condition.
Yeah.
Trump got really lucky, right? I mean, he was an inch away from being killed, an inch away from being killed.
Um, so I mean, someone brought this up that this is what Alex Jones was sued for, was saying that something wasn't real and that it was a hoax. And so
Yeah.
that was like, oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
That all right, so I think I know the answer to this question, but do you condemn the violence, the attempted
Yes.
act of assassination?
Yes. I think my wife said it best when she was like, I hate Donald Trump. I do not like him as a person, but you don't get to kill him, right? Like that's just not like that's not the realm that we live in. This is not a banana republic where you just
Yes.
assassinate people you don't like. Yeah, would I like to see him in prison? Yeah, yeah, I actually would, right? Like I think he's a criminal, but I don't want him shot, right? I don't want him to die, right? Like
Right.
that
Well,
I'm actually
I,
opposed to the death penalty as it is. So like,
right,
yeah,
right, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, or maybe put it in this way, that you don't want to live in a world where this is acceptable,
Exactly.
right?
This is
Yeah.
totally unacceptable. Either
The
candidate. I may not agree with the candidate, still don't, and not okay with him being killed.
What do you think? So there's been a lot of casting stones at the rhetoric, right? The rhetoric that's been thrown out, stuff that President
Mhm.
Biden has said, things like that. What do you think about that? Do you think it's
Um,
valid?
well, so we're certainly in a political climate that is really, really contentious and highly divided.
Yeah.
And I've heard this going both ways, right? So some have
Right.
said that Biden is like, this is the end of democracy.
Right.
Trump, of course, occasionally uses violent language
Right.
uh, in what he says, right? And even after like he was shot, when he was pumping his fist, I don't know if you could see what he was saying, but he was saying fight,
Fight.
right?
Yeah. Fight.
Which like sure, it's probably a metaphor, right? It's probably not saying like pick up guns and go kill Democrats, right?
Right.
But it's still violent language. And so I think both sides are guilty of catastrophizing
Yes.
what's happening, right? That like
Yes.
if Trump and I think like the best illustration of this is Biden has basically adopted Trumpian policies on the border to the point that like he didn't immediately, right? But right now he's like trying to shut down the border
He's
as best
toughened
he
up.
can. Yeah, he's toughened
Yeah.
up dramatically.
Yeah.
And even on like our trade with China, he actually hasn't gone back on Trump's policies on that
The
either.
trade war policies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a lot of the things that they're doing, right, are marginal differences, not dramatic, huge shifts. So, I mean, are there differences? Absolutely, there are differences. And I think it would be a very different presidency, and there would be things that change. Where things get really awkward, and I hate pointing this out because it's, I don't know, we can call it privilege, but it's just a really weird thing. Like policies that Trump would change from Biden aren't really going to affect me, a
Hmm.
mostly straight white male who's upper middle class, effectively, right? Um, they're really not going to affect me. Are they going to affect a lot of people I care about and know? Yeah, right. And that's why I disagree with the policies. I disagree with a lot of those things.
Give an
But
example.
uh, if abortion is outlawed, I'm
Oh,
already snipped, right? Like I'm not having
hmm.
any more kids.
I see what you're
This is
saying.
a
Right.
total non-issue for me, right? Um, if he lowers taxes on the upper income brackets, that actually is going to start benefiting me. I mean, I'm not in the highest income bracket by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not in the lowest income bracket at this point.
Right.
So a lot of the policies that he talks about are actually not going to hurt me. Marginalizing LGBTQ individuals, which we're going to get to with the second part. Uh, Banning books, right? Like he's banning books from public high schools. I work at a university. I can get whatever book I want, right? So a
Right.
lot of the things that they are talking about doing don't affect me directly at all. I just am opposed to them in principle. And of course, I care about lots of people who will be affected by these things. So it's tricky in that sense. But yes, the rhetoric, I think both sides, if either side is guilty, both sides are guilty of
The
the rhetoric.
There's statements like so that because so Biden was in a recent interview. They were pushing him on the we need to put Donald Trump in a bullseye, and Biden was defending that, and he was like, "Oh, that was a mistake, right? I shouldn't have said that, blah blah." And I'm actually like, does anyone really think that we need to put him in a bullseye to kill him, right? Like, I don't think any rationally
Right.
thinking person did. Now, but he did say stuff, and I saw some clips of this saying Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He is a threat to
Mm-hmm.
this country, and like, yeah, those statements are not helpful, right?
Right.
That's gonna stoke things. Um, so yeah, I think, and then there was the thing with Biden. There was a Trump shared a clip of or yeah, clip of a video of a guy that had a truck with a
Bullseye.
sticker
Yeah.
well, it was Biden hogtied in the back of a truck, right? And
Oh,
it was like
right.
on
Yeah.
the tailgate of the truck, right? And that got a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
was a big to do for the media. And anyway, that but so like yeah, so totally things going both ways. And I think and then I think you get an impressionable kid like that that's like, oh man, I need to solve this, right? By shooting Trump.
Well, so one of the interesting things that I was just reading in here is they have, I think it's the FBI, right, gotten access to his phone, so they're able to see what's going on. He looked up rallies for both, right?
Okay.
So
Hmm.
he didn't look up just Trump rallies. He was actually looking up the Democratic Convention in Chicago as well. He's
Mm.
basically looking to kill somebody,
Do you think he
right?
was just like an opportunist?
I think so. I don't
Really?
think that he's ideologically motivated. I don't know enough about him to really say, right? But I think he was a loner who probably had a pretty shitty life, right? I mean, it sounds
Right.
like he was bullied and abused in a lot of ways. He was a loner. He was weird. So be it. I think he was trying to do, it's always awkward to say it, but it's like a suicide by cop, right? Type situation where he's like, I want to die anyway. I may as well become famous in
Right.
process. And
Yeah.
so if he's the person, and he is, right? His name is all over the place now. I've
Yeah.
intentionally not mentioned his name because I don't like doing that. But he's going to go down in history, right? Like everybody is going to know his name for all of history, right? Because he tried to assassinate Donald Trump.
The so there is the what I think is oh, so yeah, well, so a point someone made that I thought was really interesting was that if you there was so someone showed some videos. It was a cover of a magazine. I don't remember the magazine, but it was had Trump's face as Hitler, and it was like kind of contorted to look like Hitler, right, with the mustache and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just giving examples of the rhetoric, right, and saying, and like, yeah, if Trump was Hitler, then we should kill him, right? It's like the Trump baby, Trump, or sorry, Hitler
The
baby, kill
Hitler
the Hitler
baby.
baby, just before all this atrocities happen.
Yeah.
And so he's so right. So like, but the fact is, so if you condemn the violence, then you're saying that that stuff is just hyperbole, right? It's just hype, right? That I would guess. I'm assuming, right? And that if you're saying, okay, yeah, he's not Hitler, right? We don't need to kill him
Right.
because if he was, then yeah, we should kill him. We definitely should kill him and get rid of him.
I mean, if he was orchestrating a genocide of roughly 6 million people, yeah, for sure. I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast, right? Would I have any qualms about Vladimir Putin being shot? No, no, that one I'm okay with, right?
Hmm.
Because he is orchestrating the deaths of tens of thousands of people with his invasion of Ukraine, right?
Well, that's
Um,
hard. That's a hard one because you could say
really?
almost anybody involved in a war, it's got blood on
Uh,
their hands.
well, yes, but in this case, like, I mean,
He
I think he's the one
like
who did
where
it.
he's
Yeah. He's the
clearly
orchestrator.
the perpetrator, the aggressor.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
so yeah, I mean, if we're going to argue like a Hitler-esque type figure, Putin's probably, in my mind, like the closest to actually being one alive today.
That
Trump,
you see
yeah,
it as being justifiable.
justifiable, right?
Hmm.
Trump, no, right? Asshole, criminal, yes, all of those things are true. Does he deserve to be shot? No, still don't,
Right.
right? He's not Hitler. He's not Hitler. He's a terrible human being, but he's not Hitler.
Okay. Breach of security. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you've read a lot of the stuff, but it is actually quite amazing that this kid got in and was able to take shots at
Yeah.
the president. It
So
sounds like you've read a little bit about it.
the one thing that I was just reading that really kind of made it make sense to me why they didn't immediately go after him. So there are a couple of things, right? And we can get into the gun stuff here. You know, if Josh is listening to this, he's going to freak out here in a second. But so one, he's walking around with an AR-15.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, he's at a conservative rally, right? Like he didn't go in with it. He didn't get through the metal
Right.
detectors.
Yeah.
But
He
that's
would not have been
totally
allowed to go inside the
right.
route.
Right.
Right.
But that's totally something that you would see at a conservative rally is somebody walking around with an AR-15, right?
Right.
Like this is what they do. This is like Second Amendment rights, man. I'm going to walk around with my guns and you can't
Yeah.
challenge me, right? So that part is like totally plausible that he
Might
can
have
walk
lent
around
for
outside.
him to be able to get around a bit without being like
Absolutely.
accosted.
Right, because you could totally see somebody doing this at a rally, right, for conservatives, where they just can't go in, but they can walk around the perimeter all they want because people do this all the time,
Right.
right?
No, I'd agree
So
with
that
that.
part totally plausible. The part that got me that I was like, oh, I had no idea about this is the building he climbed on top of was actually a staging point
Right.
for law enforcement.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense now because if the spotters from the Secret Service see somebody laying on the roof of that building, they don't know if they're actually also snipers for law enforcement,
Oh,
right? Do you see what I'm
interesting.
saying? So it's like,
Well, kind of.
yeah. So I think, and that's the article that I was just reading, is that's actually why they were reticent to take the shot, is because they didn't know, is he friend or foe, right? Is he, because the snipers with the Secret Service knew that building was actually full of law enforcement, right? So he managed to crawl on top, which is not funny, right? But like he crawled on top of the building where law enforcement was staging their operations, and that's where he set up. And I can totally see if I was a sniper, I'd be like, hey, you know, call whoever's in charge. Is there another sniper post on that building? Because I can
Right.
see somebody with a gun. What's going on here? I could totally see that as confusing. I'm not trying to defend the breach in security. I'm just saying, like, I that makes more sense to me why they didn't immediately go like, hey, get somebody over there right now. There's a guy in that building with a gun. That's the building where all the people with the guns are, right? Like it makes sense. So that one kind of fact
That one
really surprised
aspect
me.
of
I was
it.
like, oh, that it makes more sense now why they didn't immediately just like shoot the guy.
It is so that whole thing boggles my mind. It's like, I mean, so that yeah, I get that part of it, right? It could be like, okay, there's a guy with a sniper on the,
Yeah.
on the counter sniper building,
Yes.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I guess he'd come earlier. He had a rangefinder, right? So basically
Mhm.
to measure distance, and so they'd seen him with that, but he didn't have a weapon. So they're like, okay. And then he comes back, and he's like walking around with a rifle. Okay, right? I think he got reported at that point, and someone,
Mhm.
he was like, someone said, oh yeah, someone said he's a suspicious guy. Da da
Right.
da da. Then he like, I need to get up there. Comes back with a ladder. Goes to the store, gets a ladder, comes back, and
Well,
it's
they didn't
like,
find the ladder. So they said that he bought a ladder, but he ended up crawling up an AC unit and then jumping onto the roof from there.
yeah, okay,
So
yes.
no ladder, so that wasn't as suspicious, but still, guy with a gun climbing onto a building, pretty
Well,
stinking suspicious.
right. Well, and it's not like a military guy, right, with police written on him or anything like that. It was
Right.
just some dude, right, with long, greasy hair, and and you're just like, okay, that's doesn't look like
Yeah.
here to protect and serve. Um, but and then yeah, and then numerous counts of people pointing him out and pointing him out to police, and then it delayed. What boggles my mind is they didn't even like hey, there's this, I guess there was a cop that came up on the roof, tried to confront him, and he pointed the
Pointed his
gun
gun
at
at
him,
him.
and the cop lost his balance and fell off the roof. But at what
Oh, I
point
didn't
do you
hear
like,
that. I heard that he pointed his gun and the cop got off.
yeah,
No, the
I
cop
guess I
fell.
guess he ducked down and then he lost his balance and
And it
because
was
he was
right
on the
after
edge.
that
But
that he
like,
shot.
what's that?
And right after that is when he
Yeah,
shot,
and then right
right?
after
Yeah.
that he shot, right.
Okay.
But maybe a domino effect of like failures, right? But like
Yeah.
it boggles my mind that at no point they were like, hey, there seems to be an incident. We should have Trump stop talking and get off the stage, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
crazy.
I
But
think they had enough warning that they should have been like, you know what? Just pause the rally for 10
yeah,
minutes while we
we're
figure
gonna
this
take a 5 minute
situation out.
break
Yeah, I
and
think that's
sort this out.
reasonable. I think that's fair. I
Eh,
think you're right though that it's just a number of like little snafus that built up to a big snafu, right?
yes.
So I don't think there was any one thing that it was like, oh, Bob didn't do his job, right? It was rando kid walking around with an AR-15 at a rally. Yeah, okay, that's acceptable, right? He'd done some homework, so he kind of knew what he was doing. And people, there were attempts to confront him, and he just kind of snuck back into the crowd, and they couldn't find him again. Then, of course, he gets up on the roof, complicated because he's on the roof, that we just talked about. Yeah, like I can see how there's just a lot of little things and not necessarily one big thing that was the actual problem.
So do you think anything fishy there? Or is
No.
that like just a complete failure on the side of security of the
I
security
mean,
team?
yes, it's a failure, right?
But yeah, absolutely.
Do I think anybody's head needs to roll because of this, right? It's plausible that the head of the Secret Service is going to resign over this because it was clearly a breach, right? But I don't get the vibe that they were not really doing their jobs. I think they were doing their jobs. It was just an unlucky chain of events that led to this clear breach, right? I don't think anybody royally screwed up is my take on this.
Well, maybe that's the case, but absolutely she should take responsibility and absolutely she
Yeah.
should resign.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's fine.
that,
Yeah.
like to me, it's like, yes, there may be a comedy of errors
Yes.
or tragedy of errors, but
Right.
like shots on a president, right? Like
Hmm.
that's a big deal.
It
Like to
is
me,
totally. Yeah.
like
It's
that.
a huge deal. They didn't do their
Um,
job, right? But again, it wasn't like if there was one person who had like clearly had an opportunity to stop this and they just botched it, right?
right.
Or if they hadn't set up the right perimeter, right? Or if they didn't have sniper teams in place, or if they had done something that was clearly outside of the standard playbook, sure, I get that. I think it's just a like you said, a tragedy of errors, right? So it's just like a buildup of lots of little things that led to a big thing and not one big thing that they just totally missed. It was just he found a bunch of little holes through their security and it worked.
Uh, and that might be the case. I'm still wrapping my head around it. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like it's that's pretty wild, right? That like that could have happened.
Well, okay, but are you getting at like are you suggesting then this was intentional?
Well, like okay,
Oh,
I
uh-oh.
shouldn't even say this, but like
Uh-oh.
I'm not even ruling out the idea that it's staged. So like I'm
Really?
like it's it's so bizarre that that could have happened that I'm like that is just boggles my mind, right? That it could have escalated to the point where this like so many breaks in the chain that like that could have escalated to that. Like it's either complete incompetence or someone was orchestrating something and I'm like what side I don't know but like it's like it just seems highly implausible and ridiculous but that's where
Hmm.
I'm at.
See, and I think I would actually take a slightly different approach to it and say this is the consequence of letting people walk around with AR-15s all the time, right?
Mm.
That we've basically made it so, guns are like candy. As long as you can afford it, you can walk around with a gun and no one's really going to do much to confront you because it's allowed, right? And I'm not saying that that makes it justifiable that somebody then took
Right.
a shot at the president. I'm just saying, like, if we didn't allow people to walk around with AR-15s in public all the time, maybe people would have been like, what the fuck is going on? That guy has an assault rifle at a political rally, and everybody would have swarmed him, right?
Well, it's like I've seen these videos of these women carrying around, and they're girls in dresses, and they're carrying around these assault rifles in Israel. And they're like
Mm-hmm.
walking down the street, they're shopping, and they're like clearly like some kind of on duty, right? They're like on call, and so they've got these rifles. And it's interesting. It's like, wow, that's interesting, right? They're just carrying it around. It's like slung on their back. And I'd actually, I think, I think about it, I'm like, they've been trained, they're in the military, they know how to use the weapon. I actually feel safer with them there. And but like I guess where it's like, okay, so I get all that. Well, I mean, like, I guess, sorry, the normalizing of the AR-15s, I'm actually like, that's okay. It's like right next to a political rally, right? And it is a right wing Second Amendment,
It's a
pro
little
Second Amendment, right?
hypocritical if they say you can't do that because they're the ones who
Yeah,
want it, right? They're the ones who are
right.
like guns for everybody, but not at our rallies.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't like
We,
there's
we
just too
want
many
guns at schools, Tom, but
here
not
well,
at our
here's the thing.
rallies.
I would, if everyone had a gun there, I'd actually probably feel more safe, right?
That's
Like meaning
terrifying.
if you could bring the guns in.
No
Um,
way. All you need
yeah,
is
yeah.
one crackpot. You need one crackpot to start shooting. And this is what you get, right?
Here's the thing. What I found is people who carry are usually highly trained and usually are extremely good at
Ugh.
diffusing a situation like that.
Okay, we just got rid of all training requirements in the state of Florida. There are no
Training?
requirement. All training requirements are gone in the state of Florida. You do not have to have any training to buy a gun and carry
Ah,
it publicly.
okay. Well, I'm sorry. What I'm saying is that's my experience has been like gun nuts are usually like highly trained. They know their weapons. They know about weapons. They know like the sacredness of pointing a gun at someone, right? Like you never do that, right? Like you never do that. And like that's just absolute no-no, right? So if you see a guy who's like whipping stuff around, I mean, you've had five people next to you going, what the heck are you doing? Right. Anyway, that's you know, it is what it is. And so that's why it's so strange to me. I'm just like, I'm still I'm waiting for some additional information to come out. Like that's what
There
I'm
will be a
waiting.
full report. I mean, there's going to be massive,
Oh,
investigations into
yeah,
this at
100%.
multiple levels. We'll
That's why
eventually get all the details, but
yeah, it just seems absurd to me. So I'm waiting like, okay, there's got to be something else. But so okay, last part of this. So uh it was pretty amazing that he survived.
I mean, okay. I've shot a lot of guns in my life, right? I grew up like where you live right now, right? We grew up in a rural part in Utah. I think I was given a 22 rifle. I don't know if we ever went shooting with my 22. Did you ever go shooting with us? No. I know
No.
Mark and I did, Mark Woolley. But I got a 22 for my 12th for Christmas when I was 12, right? So I grew up with guns. I've shot shotguns, I've shot all sorts of rifles, I've shot pistols, I've shot a lot of guns. Um, what was the question? I don't know why I went off on this tangent.
Miraculous.
Miraculous. Yeah. Um, he's shooting from 400 feet away an AR-15. AR-15s are not sniper rifles,
No.
right? They're assault rifles. They put out a lot of lead really fast, semi-accurately, right? If he had a sniper rifle and he had missed, okay, that's one thing. He missed with an AR-15. I'm not surprised by that. I don't know if you've ever fired one, right? But they're not designed to be highly, highly accurate. They're designed to put out a lot of bullets very quickly. I'm not surprised by it. Yeah.
Have you seen the like diagram that is basically showing that the projection would have hit the back of his head, but that he
He
turned
turned.
to do the slide, right? And that like so that then so therefore
That
the
grazed his
director
ear.
just nicked the ear instead.
Yeah. Like I said, he got really lucky.
Yeah, he got really lucky for
Yep.
sure.
Hmm.
Uh, what do you think would have happened if he had died?
Uh, that's a really good question, Tom. I heard, or maybe I read it somewhere. Somebody was saying like Civil War, right? I don't think it would have been a civil war. And the reason I say that is if the person who had killed him, right, had like a massive Biden shirt on and was like fully in for progressive causes, which doesn't make any sense because they wouldn't have guns, right? But was like a radical Democrat leftist who was like, I'm going to kill a president, I could see some things going bad, right?
Hmm.
This is not that guy, right? This is somebody who's trying to get famous by killing a famous person.
Yeah, he
And
was
yeah,
registered as a Republican,
right.
and but he did donate to some progressive
Yeah.
left
He
wing
donated
causes.
$15 to a progressive candidate or cause or
So
something like that. So he's mixed, but like,
he's got some, yeah. So it's checkered, right?
yeah. And so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? If it was clear like Biden had orchestrated an assassination, yeah, civil war, right? I don't think this is it. This is okay, Trump would have died. I think it would have radically shifted the election in all sorts of weird ways. And I don't know exactly how that would have played out. I don't know if his successor, because it hadn't even been announced that it was JD
No,
Vance at this point, right? So who would they have picked? I have no idea. Like all of that's really,
I'm
really
sure it
confusing.
was already decided that was a successor, but
Yeah.
how would that would have played out? It's hard to
Yeah, I have
say.
no idea. But I don't think there would have been a civil war for this particular person. If it had been, like I said, somebody who was clearly on the left, I still don't think there'd be a civil war. I don't think we're at that point in the country. I know there's a lot of rhetoric. I don't know if you saw this in some of the footage. It was really weird to me. Um, Clearly, Donald Trump is capturing anger, right? There are a lot of people in this country who are like really, really angry.
Yeah,
But if you see the footage as Trump is like being ushered off the stage by the Secret Service, the people in the audience are like yelling and flipping off the media and telling them to go fuck themselves. And I was
yeah,
like, what?
they do
Why?
that a lot.
Right. And I was like, what did the media have to do with this? Right. Like
Right. Well, in this
they
case,
they
but they
didn't
do it
kill
all the
him.
time, right?
What do you mean?
Like at any of the rallies, they
Oh, they flip
down,
them, they flip off the media. And well,
yeah,
Trump also
they
is taunting and
chastise the
yeah.
media. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't
So it's
understand the anger. There's clearly a
maybe
lot of anger out there.
at that moment probably not appropriate, but but that's actually par for the course for them. But
I, I don't understand it, to be honest, right? Like, why are people
well,
so angry? What is the
oh,
anger?
okay. Well, here I will tell you. Like, did you see the headlines that were written about the incident that are just mind-boggling?
No, I mean,
Like,
almost everything I saw. Initially, there was a little bit of a question about whether it was an assassination attempt, but that lasted all of like 6 hours. And then everybody's like, yeah, it was an assassination attempt. Fine.
well, yeah, well, there were a lot of headlines that came out of Trump falls because of loud noise. Security stops helps Trump up after he falls. It's quite
Really?
amazing. What's
Hmm.
that?
I didn't see these headlines, but then again, like I read very
I
specific news
tagged a
outlets.
post because I thought it was in, and I thought it would come up. Is the it has Yeah, a bunch of different. Yeah, ABC News. Trump escorted away after loud noises at PA rally. Donald Trump escorted off the streets by Secret Service during a rally after loud noises ringing out in crowd. Newsweek. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after popping noises heard in a Pennsylvania rally. There's quite a few of these. And so there was, and then I saw, so over the weekend I saw this meme that was uh Caesar gets injured in group hug, and it shows his, and I'm like, it's kind of what it feels like.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to if those headlines were written minutes after, right? Fine, right? A day after, I mean, I'm literally on ABC News's website right now, and the whole thing is assassination attempt,
Yes.
right?
I
So
think,
it took him a day to be like, okay, legit, this was an assassination attempt. But is
yeah.
it careful reporting to be like, we don't know what just happened?
Well, that's the problem, right? Is like careful reporting, right? It's like Hunter Biden laptop. Hey, that's not verified. We're not sure about that. Oh, the Steele dossier, completely unverified. Run with it, right? That's the double standard that the Trump supporters hate, right? That's what makes them so upset. Is like then I did see a meme that showed January 6th, next day. Insurrection, da 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 da, violent riot, right?
I
At
mean,
the Capitol.
but
And
that was all
like,
true. It was a violent riot at
well,
the Capitol, and it was an insurrection. That's all
so
true.
right. So we should
Yeah,
tell the truth. That's what I'm saying, right?
yeah. And they did. Within 6 hours, it was all assassination attempts, right? Within the first minutes, it was, we don't know what just happened,
Yeah, I don't
right?
know. That's everyone ran with the same thing of downplay it. And then, and what made it even worse is they were talking about so this is like the next day they're talking about things that Trump's incendiary
Language.
comments,
Yeah,
right? And they even brought up the bloodbath comment
that we've already talked
that
about.
we've already
Yeah.
discussed, right? As justification for why he's sort of asking for it, right? And you're like, well, yeah, if they'd heard it from you, yeah, I could see why they'd say that. But like, if they'd actually heard the comment, it was completely not any
Yeah.
kind of type of call to violence, right? And so that's, so yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, right? You're bringing that one up, and um, and the dictator comment, that was the other one he brought up, where he's like, I'll be a dictator on day one, is what's been thrown around. Um, and so it's definitely there's a double standard going on. And we've talked about this, right? But like that is why they hate him, right? That's why like was that a good moment? Probably not, but
Okay. I think where my hesitation comes in is I can dislike what somebody does,
yeah.
right? But I don't then immediately like, die, I hate you. I'm gonna flip you off every time I see you.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
like where is the real anger, right? Like I can't imagine getting that upset over a headline, over some media bias, right? Like,
Well,
and we've talked about like I think there was some media bias with the pandemic. Like, totally, that's fine.
yeah.
I'm not out trying to burn down ABC News or my local affiliate over this. I'm not so angry that I want to like kill people.
Yeah.
And like I don't understand that level of anger. Maybe I'm just
No.
wired differently, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, we don't. But that's why we will never go. And I agree. These are your hardcore ardent supporters of Trump, right?
Right.
This is the and I hate to say this, but this is a group that like they are so hardcore that you could see them doing something stupid, right? Just like the other side, you could see doing
Mm-hmm.
something stupid because they get so into it, right? When because you have people on the other line that were like, I can't believe he missed and he should have hit and da da da, and you're like, that's so stupid that you're saying that, right? And you're
Yeah.
like
Can't say
completely
that.
out of touch, right?
Yeah.
Both that group, those groups are like, you don't, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Um, and so all right, one more. Well, yeah, I just want to take this one more down this like road just a teeny bit more. So already at the rally, there's, I mean, like, sorry, the RNC, the Republican National
Convention.
Convention,
Yeah.
like it's been said many times already, like this is miraculous that like God's hand was in this,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
so like and here's the thing, I hate it. I hate it.
I'm glad you hate it because my immediate response, and I actually saw somebody who posted about this, is God directed that bullet, right, away from a serial adulterer into the dad of a kid who was right there at the rally and killed him.
Right, right.
Right?
And we don't
Like,
know if that was the same bullet, but
do
yeah,
you see what I'm saying though,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
just like God protected this guy who's
right.
a scumbag, but was perfectly fine with this guy over here
This
dying,
guy
who
dying.
was like a devoutly religious dad who was there at the rally with his son and protected his family by jumping on them, and that's how he died, right?
Right.
Way to go, God. Like, props to you, right? No one mentions that part. They're like, God saved Donald Trump, but then you obviously have to say, why does God hate this guy?
Why did I? Yeah, and so like, well, I mean, you could say he's an instrument, right? He's going to be an instrument in this country and this and that, whatever, right? Here, I mean, I did a whole video on the dangers of deifying
Yes,
your
your
leaders, right?
leaders.
And I hate this. I hate that like it's being said. And the problem is, you watch the video and pretty it's pretty wild. It's pretty inspiring. It's pretty like, he's almost shot and he comes up and he's like, fight, fight. And you're like, wow, it's like almost, I mean, and it's a lot of people it's affected. Like a lot of people have been like, holy crap. And I've seen these videos of like, I was on the fence, but like seeing that and seeing him stand up and his strength and his courage and da da da. And you're like, I'm I'm a guy that will take a step back and be like, okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna 24 hours before I buy anything sort of person and
Hmm.
before I make any large purchases. And so, but even me, I'm like, wow, that was pretty wild seeing that and like how that all played out and how he survived it and then his reaction to it, I think
Hmm.
was pretty amazing.
You mean him getting up and saying fight?
Well, you saw the crowd, right?
Yeah,
Everyone hunches down. I mean, there is a shooter on the loose, like firing into the crowd, right? It's, and someone made this comment, like, we could have had 50 people die from a stampede, right? Of 30,000 if they'd
yeah.
stampeded. And the fact that he got back up and was like, fight, and you saw the crowd's reaction, they all were like, "Oh," and they started cheering.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that was pretty amazing. His presence of mind to kind of like keep the audience with him,
Yeah,
not freak out, not not, completely panic and run, right?
yeah.
That I thought it was the proper reaction. It was especially, I mean, it was incredibly good for television,
Hmm.
but um, and it was, I have to say, it was actually very inspirational.
Um, yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna disagree. I think I would have been more impressed had Trump gotten up and just told everybody, I'm fine, right?
Right.
Um, him getting up and saying fight, I don't like that,
You're right.
right?
You
That
don't like
rubs me
the
the wrong way because he's immediately saying, like, they're fighting us, you need to fight back,
Mhm.
right? Now, is he saying go take guns to Joe Biden? He's not saying that.
Right.
But he's not saying, hey, this is unacceptable. Like, this is not okay. Tone it down, right? What he's saying is, I'm bleeding. I just got shot. Fight. And
Mhm.
that to me is like, he's accepting the increasing level of rhetoric and playing into it.
A
You're not
little bit.
wrong that, like, for his supporters, this is absolutely inspirational, right? He
Uh,
just got shot. I mean, it was, grazed his ear. Like, he's not mortally wounded, right?
well, I wouldn't
So
downplay it. I don't know what I would do if I got shot in the ear,
sure,
right?
no, I get it. And so and the fact that he got up and did that, like, yeah, that's impressive. I'm conceding that. I don't like how he responded to it though, but I can totally see how his base just ate that up as like,
Yeah.
see, he's strong, he's tough. Even a
Yes.
bullet can't keep him
Yes.
down.
Oh,
This is why
100%.
we're going to win this. Like, I totally get all of
Yeah.
that,
He's
but at some level,
bulletproof,
it
blah, blah,
doesn't
blah.
it doesn't it doesn't resonate with me because at the end of the day, that's not what I want to see in that moment, right? I want to see somebody who's like, I'm fine, right?
Right.
This is not going to stop the campaign, but then to turn around and be like, fight, fight. And he was like angry about it. And I was like, no,
I
no, no,
think
no,
I
no.
think Trump is powered off of like, fueled off of hate and
I think you're right.
vitriol.
Yes, I think
Um,
that's what fuels him. Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen a person that will like just keep hammering on a person, and you're like, okay, no, okay, just leave it alone with Rosie O'Donnell, right? She doesn't want to fight anymore, and they'll just be like, that fat pig, that
Yes, he
SOB,
won't
that B, and you're
stop.
like, just dead, just leave her alone,
Yeah.
right? And
Nope, he won't
I
stop.
think he like this
He
is
feeds
what,
off of it.
yes,
I
yes,
think that's
and
fair.
something you and I will never understand.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
feed off of that.
but I mean, and like, not to justify it or anything, but like, this is what's got him where he is today, right?
Yeah,
Is this is what people want. They want someone who won't back down. They don't want a Mitt Romney who will apologize. They want someone who will double down and be like, no, no, Mexicans are rapists, and I'm not apologizing for that.
I don't
And
understand. I
that's,
really don't. Like, who can do that? But okay.
uh, so, so it's an interesting, yeah, so like I said, I'm like, I hate the deification of leaders, and I feel like this is exactly what happened. But I'm not even gonna lie that it was like, it's pretty wild. Like me, sort of I'm on the borderline, skeptic on the
Hmm.
edge, and I am a never Trumper, but like I'm like watching this going, dang, right? And
Yeah, impressive. It was an
there
impressive
was
response.
Bill Maher did a stand-up piece, and he just made some comments right before his show that was that night, or the next night, I can't remember, Sunday night, and he's basically saying very similar things. He's like, dang. He's like, oh, our guy can't make up the stairs, and this guy can't get shot by bullets, right? And he's just sort of like, he's
That's
like,
tough.
the
Yeah.
election might be over, kind of saying stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Though, I mean, I think again, my wife pointed out that polling data has not shifted, which I was kind of surprised
Yes.
by. I
Yeah,
thought for
I'm
sure
surprised by
this
it
was going to
too.
shift it dramatically. Like, effectively, the election's over. He's going to get a sympathy vote. There was an assassination attempt, right? Like, who can vote against this guy if you're on the fence
Right.
when he just survived an assassination attempt, right?
Yes.
So,
Well,
short of Joe Biden dying, which we talked about last time,
yeah, a
right?
little
So then he gets
too
yeah,
soon.
I know.
Uh,
I mean, it kind of seems like this is in the bag. I'm
that
I'm
was a
I'm
little
resigning
weird that I
myself to
was
this.
talking about Biden
I know.
dying, and then like it was like 2 days later, it was like, oh, president's getting shot at.
Yeah, Tommy, do you
Um,
happen to know this guy who
yeah, I got a phone call the next day. Uh, but no, I was gonna say something about that. No, so there is the site that has it's the betting site that has on
Mm,
odds, right?
hmm.
And he did go up. He went from 60% to 70% as the
Trump winning?
if Trump winning, yeah.
Oh, geez.
And
Yeah.
like, whatever. A lot of people are puzzled by the results of that polling, right? Because there was a pretty big reaction from a
Hmm.
lot of people online, and so that is weird. So like, who knows? What is there something behind that? I don't know. Or is there more to it? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
anything
we're good.
anything else?
No, I think we covered it. That was a lot longer than I thought we would take on the assassination because I was like, yeah, I'm not in favor of assassinations. I'm assuming you're not in favor of assassinations. Done. But yeah, I
Well,
think they were good questions. They were good questions to ask.
yeah, because I've seen a lot of reactions online, and I always like to talk to a sane liberal and be like, okay, well, are you with them or are you with these guys, right? And then, anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, let's move on to so the transgender bill in
Yeah.
California. So,
You
and I
have
think I've
any?
already said, like, I'm
Yeah.
I'm still getting two sides of this, of like, what is the bill about?
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of finger pointing that's we're trying to so from what I hear,
Hmm.
it's supposed to not allow transgender decisions to be made without parental consent, right? That by the public schools.
Right.
And that's what I'm hearing, but I'm hearing the other side. I'm hearing people on the right saying, no, that is what's happening.
No.
That decisions are being made without the parental consent. And
No, that's not what the bill is actually about. So I can give a very quick summary. I mean, I think
yeah,
it's a
go
pretty
ahead.
straightforward, simple bill. It basically says, um, if a kid, right, so this is a student at a public school, um, tells the school, right? So at school, they say, I want to use different pronouns, right?
Mhm.
They, them, or, other gender pronouns. Or if they come out as lesbian, gay, or bisexual, the school is not required to tell the parents.
Oh,
That's the extent of the bill.
okay.
That's the full extent of the bill, right? So it's not that the school's like, and now we'll get you funding to go through transition surgery.
No.
We're going to get you drugs. We're going to do all this stuff, right? Like it's literally just that the school doesn't have to then turn around and say, to the parents, hey, your kid is wanting to use they them pronouns. They're now non-binary, right?
Well, okay.
That's the full extent of the bill. It's not anything more than that.
Well, okay, that is a big deal, though.
Why is that a big deal, though? That's the part that I'm like, I'm not sure I understand why this is such a big deal.
So, so it sounds like that teacher could then start using those pronouns
Yeah, if that's what the
with
kid
that,
wants at school, yeah.
and so he could even start going, so my daughter could start going by Larry at school,
Hmm.
and then mom doesn't know about it.
Yep.
That seems like
Yeah.
a pretty big deal to me.
Okay, so let me give a little bit more background on why they're doing this. There were a number of kind of conservative-led school districts in California that
Yeah.
passed, I don't know, local legislation, basically, local policies that said, no, you have to inform the parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just so you know,
Why?
Utah is this way. If gender related subject comes up, and so this actually came up at my school and with my son, and like not because of any reason you think, but because of a totally different reason. And it got and the principal was like, oh, I have to get parents involved with this. And like this is us, we were on a trip. I already told you about this, but like
Right, right. I do
we were up
remember
on
the
a trip, and it came up, and like um anyway, and the principal's like, no, those legislate, I have to tell the parents and immediately inform them like that this conversation's happening, and that they need to be let in on it. So
Okay.
like, so I'm just saying like that's the way it is in Utah, and like not and I know there's some other states that are similar.
Right. So effectively, California tried to undo that. They
Right.
basically said there are people who are trying to force this, right? So if a
Hmm.
kid is basically out at school, but in the closet at home, right?
Yeah.
Now you have to out them to their parents. That's
Oh yeah.
basically what they're
Hmm.
trying to do. And
Hmm.
California is saying, no, no, we're not going to out them to their parents. We actually want the school to be a safe place where kids can be who they are, right? And that's the extent of the legislation, right? Is you don't have to out them, like don't out them, right? And I think this is probably going to be something where we're going to disagree, right?
Right.
You're probably going to be saying like, no, no, you should out them, and I agree with the California legislation, right? And I can give some specific examples, but I'm interested in your take on it because that's the extent of it, right? Like the schools are not pushing it. They're not trying to make kids trans or non-binary or lesbian, gay, or bisexual. They're just saying like we're a
Right.
safe place. You can do
But
whatever
but
you want
but
here.
they could.
What do you mean they could?
They could be encouraging and influencing it, and not unannounced to the parents.
You mean by accepting it that they're encouraging and influencing it? Because those are
What?
not the same thing. I mean, no one's
No,
trying
I'm
to
not
say like
saying the
you
law is
should be
saying that they
trans.
have
They're
to
just like,
encourage
we're
it,
okay with that.
but it's now on the table as a totally, like, it could be happening and a parent not informed about it. Like if okay, so if I found out that my kid had be switched and switched genders, and like and the school had known about it for months, and
Mhm.
we're even sorry,
Accepting of it. They're not
going along
advocating
with
it.
it,
They're
right?
accepting of it. Yes, they're
Accepting
accepting it.
whatever pronouns, right? And I'm not even saying encouraging, but just
Right.
like
They're accepting it.
accommodating it,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
accommodating it. I would lose my mind. I would absolutely lose my mind. I would be so upset.
Why?
Like that's a very sacred thing, like for me, and for the school to be doing like it. That's, I think they have zero business like accommodating a child's wishes for something, on something that I think is quite important, and like and then not in telling me is yeah, I think is a complete breach of trust between the state and the family. And but that's, and to me that, but that's that's part of it. The other part is that they could be encouraging it, right? They could be like, hey, we've got the after school, queer club, And like, and I'm not even making this up. This happens, right? And like,
Sure,
hey,
but they're
I'm
usually
the
supportive. They're
I'm
not
the aid
pushing it.
for it, or right, if you guys are gonna come, right, da da da, and oh yeah, we're gonna go. And like the what I see happening is like a kid could start that journey and get pretty far down it before the parent is let in on the conversation. Like before it's like sort of like, oh, what's going on? And where a teacher, and I'm not saying they even encouraged it, but like they knew about it and were accommodating it, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, we're going to queer club today and we're doing this and we call Samantha's now Timmy, and we, you know, and we call him a he, and like and it's this wink wink nod nod. I'm not encouraging it, but I'm certainly not discouraging it. And the parent doesn't know about any of this. I mean, that is an incredible. And then it's like all of a sudden mom finds out about it because their son, daughter, whatever is now saying that they want to go, you know, have a sex change. And I'd be like, what? Right? That would be, I mean, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind if that happened. Like, I think there was no
Why?
place.
Why would you lose your mind though, Tom? Like what is the concern? What's the problem?
So, okay. Would you accommodate? I mean, I hate to get into these arguments, but like but like, okay, so your son
He identifies
comes,
as Mel. He identifies as Mel.
right,
Yes.
comes to you and says, I want to be a fighter, Dad,
Okay.
when I grow up.
Okay.
Big deal, little deal.
It's not a big deal. That's fine. Yeah.
Do you get him out of school?
What do you
You
mean?
do you put him in firefighter camp?
That's
Do
not really
you
a
have him
thing.
do you have him start driving a fire truck?
Right now, he doesn't even drive. So no.
Right.
Right. But like if that's what he wanted to do when he's 18, like he can go to firefighter school and like because you have to be a certain age, you have to have
Would you do
certain
that?
yeah.
Would you pull him out? Would you do any of this?
But I pull him out of school to do it?
Yeah, to be a
No,
firefighter.
I don't know that I fully understand the question, but like no, I wouldn't
No,
because
why?
you're not supposed to. Like
What do you mean you're not supposed to?
there's
But
you
he
can't be a
feels
firefighter until you're 18.
what?
You can't be a firefighter until you're 18.
Okay, well, he wants to start now. Well, like, why won't
He
you
can read
accommodate?
up as much about it as he wants. He can go do internships at the fire department. He can do
Why?
all of the things.
Why wouldn't you pull him out of school?
Because there's no logic to it.
Why isn't there logic to it?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly where you're going, Tom. Are you trying to
But
make an argument that this is the equivalent?
well, yeah, yes and no. Like, do you think your son will be a firefighter when he grows up?
I mean, if that's what he wants to be, sure. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you think it will, like, why?
I don't
So
think it's not a one-to-one equivalent. I think you're trying, and I don't think it's a one-to-one equivalent.
no, it's
This
not
is their
I'm
gender.
agreeing. It's not a one-to-one
Right.
equivalent. What I'm saying is, if my son came to me and said, I want to be a firefighter, I'd say, okay, great, wonderful, right?
Yeah,
I take the exact same approach that you're saying.
yep,
And
that's fine.
like, because what will he most likely change his mind?
Probably, but like,
Yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah,
15.
probably
He's
will.
probably gonna change his mind.
And we'll
Yeah,
let him decide when he's 18, right?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what I feel about anyone who brings up a gender issue. Like if my child did, I'd be like, okay, wonderful. You know what? Why don't you just put that on hold? And when you're 18, we can talk about that further, right? If you feel really strongly about that, you can put that further. This would be like, oh, hey, Dad. By the way, I dropped out of I stopped going to class a long time ago. I've been going to firefighter school for the last little bit, and I drive a firefighter truck. And this, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "There's no reason for you to be doing any of that. I want you just going to school and focusing on that. There is no reason, like, because, like you said, probably going to change their mind. Not a big deal. Not something they need to worry about right now." And like, why was I not even told that all these things, these changes were happening? And like, I'm saying that's occupation. This is gender, which I think
Right.
is much more important. Like, as far as like a sacred topic of like where people make decisions that are actually much more consequential. Uh,
Okay.
and like, with sex changes and sterilizations and
Sure.
things like that. And so I'm like, yeah, there is zero reason you should be even worrying about that, talking about that, or doing anything about that. And like the fact that it could be happening and I'm not informed, I'm not let in on this, and it could be encouraged. And there's now license that it could totally be encouraged, fostered, and groomed. Like
Yeah.
that's all there.
Grooming
It's
is not the right word. It's definitely not the right word. But
but that's
okay. So I have
I
lots
would
of
lose my mind.
that. Okay, so I have lots of ways to kind of like wrestle with this issue. So my first one, this wasn't going to be my first one, but my first one is, um, at what age, Tom, did you decide what your gender was going to be?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Like not something I ever thought of. But
Well, I understand, right? Um, but you're also, and I apologize for the terms, right? But you're also cisgender. You're not transgender,
okay.
right? So that's the term that we use for people who kind of align traditionally with their gender identity. So you don't have any problems with people who are cisgender, right? Who are traditional genders, exploring what it is to be their gender at whatever age, right? So if they're two and they want to get a baseball bat instead of a baton, right? You're perfectly fine with that. And if that's happening at school where the teacher's like, okay, boys over here, girls over there, you're fine with that too,
Hmm.
right? So
Those
as long
distinctions.
as, yeah, as long as they're doing gender in a way that you're comfortable with, you actually don't need to know about it, do you?
Because I assume they're doing it the way that I've dictated. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So they could be doing all sorts of things at school about traditional gender stuff, right? Like girls only wear skirts or dresses, and boys only wear pants, and boys play baseball, and girls do dance, right? And
Hmm.
all of that would be perfectly fine with you. And you don't need any reporting from the school about them reinforcing your conception of gender because you're okay with it. It's only when you're not okay with it that now you want them to tell you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that all fair at this point?
Yes, it is fair to me. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, all of that said, right? I think really where the issue is, and we'll go down this other path.
Mm.
Um, Parents aren't always safe.
Mm.
Okay. And I can give some radical examples. I don't know if I necessarily need to, but there are times where kids don't agree with their parents
Hmm.
and they're not going to tell their parents about it.
Hmm.
And if their parents do find out about some of the things that the kids are doing or believe or saying, um, there could be pretty severe consequences for the kids,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So, is it always in the best interest for parents to know everything about their kids?
Uh, I agree that there are times when it's not safe for the kids at home, for sure. And like there are issues, for sure. 100%.
Right. The radical example, and again, this comes from what I study, right? There's a group of people who are on trial right now in Australia because they basically wouldn't give kids. There was a girl with diabetes, right? Type 1
Hmm.
diabetes. They refused to give her insulin because they were just praying for her. They were a
Hmm.
religious group. She
Hmm.
died,
Right.
right? And there are a bunch of states in the US still today, thanks to Christian scientists, they have exceptions on the books where if you withhold medical treatment from a kid for religious reasons, that you're not going to get prosecuted for that because you did it for religious reasons. For
Hmm.
anybody else, that's considered child abuse, right? It's
Hmm.
neglect, it's child abuse. You're going to be prosecuted for this. But if it's for religious reasons, that's okay. The only reason why I give that radical example is because there are times when it's not safe to
Yeah.
be with your own parents, right?
100%.
That would also, I would argue, apply in some homes where the parents are like, we reject lesbian and gay individuals,
Right.
right? You are not allowed to be that. And if you are, you're a sinner or you're evil or whatever it is. Is it safe for those kids to come out to their parents?
I don't know what you mean by safe, but like, are they going to be hurt or something? Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of people that could be at risk if they talk to their parents honestly about their gender dysphoria.
Right.
Hmm.
So does it make sense then for schools to have to be mandatory reporters to parents if a kid is like 15, 16, 17? They're on the cusp of 18 and they're like, you know what? I'm not, I was raised male, but I'm not, right? I'm transitioning, but I can't tell my parents because they might kill me. They might kick me out of the home. I don't know what the consequences are, but I've definitely heard them talk about how anti-trans they are. It is not a safe place, but I have a couple of friends at school. They know, they're comfortable with this. And now I've actually told one teacher, right, who
Hmm.
seems affirming, not advocating. They're not like making me be trans, right? They're just like, that's fine. I'm okay with that, right? I will use your preferred pronouns. Does the school really feel like, should the school be obligated to then tell the parents, knowing that this could put that kid at risk?
100%. Yes. Yes. It, it's it's not for the state to decide. That like so our once the state starts deciding who gets to know and who doesn't, that is not their job. That is not. I will always side with the family, like that the family knows best. And are there egregious examples where it goes contrary? 100%, 100%. But I am 100% confident that that is overall the best solution, is to that the family should be informed and should be the arbiter of of decisions like this, and should be very much involved and informed of these kinds of changes in a person's life. In fact, I think it's some of the most important changes, and I think that it's like it blows my mind that people would be okay with a kid making decisions without their family's knowledge. Like, absolutely blows my mind. And so, like, yeah, are there going
Even
to
if
be
it's not safe and the kid knows it's not safe and they could
it's
potentially be killed as a
it is
result
going
of
to happen.
this.
Oh, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen 100%.
You're okay with that. You're
Yeah.
like, let the kids die.
Oh, 100%. Because because
Tom, that's
oh,
terrifying.
sure, but yeah, but you can find any example of anyone, right? This is just like the abortion thing, right? But you're gonna let the girl die who got raped and da da da, and you're gonna be like, well, yeah, like, but if it should be written into the law if there's gonna be some exceptions, but like the 97% of all abortions are for not those use cases, right?
Sure.
It's because it's an inconvenience and like they don't want to have a kid.
They don't want to have a
And
kid.
so I'm going to side with the family, that the family knows best. And because, yeah, there's going to be exceptions, 100%. There are always going to be exceptions, but you can't play to the exceptions as the justification for a horrible law and a horrible rule. Like that's just a bad idea. You can justify anything at that point for any reason. And
Okay.
so,
Um, can I run through a couple of scenarios that I was just thinking of
yeah,
here? All right.
yeah,
Let's say um we'll use this because we just talked about it, right? Some of those radical Trump supporters who were flipping off the cameras, there's like, rabid Trump supporters.
yeah,
And they're talking about at home, right? They've got, let's say, a 15-year-old kid, but they're talking about at home of like, if I ever had a Democrat in the family, like I'd shoot him, I'd kill him.
right,
Okay. Kid is going to school and they realize that they're actually politically progressive,
right,
right? Like they don't agree with their parents at all.
sure.
Does the school have an obligation to tell the parents, actually, your child's a Democrat?
Like, political affiliation, I'm sure there's been instances of this being a problem, right, in a family. I'm sure there's been, but like, uh, I, there are no rules around it, and I don't know the circumstance. So like, I have no idea. I have no idea if that be a
Well,
rule or not.
okay, you don't know on that.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so let's try another one. Religion, right? This is a real thing. It's happening all the time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
People have kids. They're very devout, and they're saying things like, if one of my kids ever left, they'd be disowned. I'd kick him
Right.
out. Like this would
And they
never
go
happen.
apostate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then they secretly are like, yeah, I totally don't believe. At
Yeah.
school, they tell their friends, right? And it eventually works its way up to somebody who's in charge at the school.
Hmm.
Should the school have an obligation to tell the parents?
that
your
they're
kid
not a
is not, yeah, that they're not
not
a
a
believer
practicing
anymore. Yeah, that
person.
they're out, they're done.
I have no idea. Yeah. I
So
don't I
again, you're like, you're not taking a position. You're like, I don't know, not yes or no.
yeah, let's see. I think I'd say no, that they are not obligated to do that. Like the funny thing is everything you're talking about are tightly correlated with each other. And so
Oh,
the
I've got two more examples, but we're gonna, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, give me the next one.
Okay. Um, Body piercings.
Hmm.
These are permanent, sometimes permanent adjustments to the body, right? Um, let's say, parents are not okay with this, right? And they're discreet, right? So maybe it's like nipple piercings
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
something
She
that you
got it
couldn't
pierced
necessarily
and
see.
she tells
Yeah.
the teacher finds out. Yeah.
Should the
Mhm.
teacher be obligated to tell the parents your child is engaged in body modifications?
Like, if I was a like, so what you're saying is, should it be the law?
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
effectively what they're doing, right? Or
Right.
tattoos. Both of those are effectively permanent. And this is getting awfully close to what you were talking about, the like gender transition surgery, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
People get tattoos all the time. People get body modifications all the time. Should the school district be obligated to tell the parents, your kid got a tattoo? Your
The
kid pierced their nipples.
right. Uh yeah, it's a great point because I actually think they should, but I don't know if it should be the law. But like I think 100% they should. But like there's a lot of things I don't think should be the law, but like but yeah, I 100% think they should.
What if it
Be
was a
like,
tattoo that says, I love my parents?
right. Like or I hate my parents,
Or
right?
I hate my parents, right?
Right.
Okay. My last one, which is getting as close as I can to basically be this, is what if the kids are sexually active?
Hmm. Hmm.
Does the school have an obligation, right? A legal obligation to tell the parents if they find out that a kid is sexually active?
I mean, right now, I would say no, they shouldn't have a legal obligation. Should they? Probably. Like
Is
tell the
that
parents
really any business of the school to be doing that?
of the is it the business of the parent? Like, think about it. Are there consequences from being sexually active that are going to fall on the parent?
Possibly, yeah.
Yes, 100%. And like, but they're like, ah, we didn't think you needed to know. You're like, well, my daughter's pregnant. And you're like, huh, yeah, I guess that would have been good for you to know about that. Yeah. So that one for sure, for sure.
Legally obligated.
No, I'm saying, oh, they should. They should.
They
I don't know if it
should,
should be a law. But
right?
should
And
a
and
teacher
again,
tell
it's,
them? 100%.
well, let's say that, a student has some questions. They know that their parents are not okay with this, right? Like their parents
Right.
have said, you will not have sex until you are married. If you
Right.
do, like you are
Right.
verboten, you're
We're gonna
sinful, you're
yeah,
evil, right?
we're
Yeah.
gonna we're gonna strip you down and drag you, put slut on you and drag you
Yes, we're
through the
going to do all
neighborhood
of the
and
terrible
shave your
things, right?
hair. Yeah.
Yes. Um,
And you
they
know that, and you're like,
Yeah, and
hey,
the kid knows that, right?
right.
But one thing leads to another because kids are human, right? This
Oh, totally.
happens.
Yeah.
And they have a teacher at school that they're just like they're really close to. They're a very
Or it just
supportive
slips
teacher.
out and
Yeah, and they
the
just
student doesn't even know that the teacher knows, right?
does the
Hmm.
teacher really have an obligation to then tell the parents?
Like,
Especially if the kid goes to the teacher in confidence and says, like, I know my parents will kill me if I do this,
yeah.
but I've got questions and I'm really worried. Can I talk to you?
I'm sneaking around your thing because so like I'm pro pro choice, but personally I'm
Right.
I'm
Yeah, you've talked
completely
about that on the
against
show.
abortions, but I think everyone needs to choose to be able to make stupid decisions. So I think so that's why I'm saying is like, should they? Absolutely. Should they be compelled to? That's a good question. I don't know. But yeah, so it's a great point, right? It's a great point because these things are a lot correlated with each other, right? You have a good Christian family, right, who's got all these things, which includes, right, like I don't want my boy becoming transgender or whatever. and then they start walking down this line of like, oh, I got a body piercing, I did this, right? And then you're like, well, now I'm talking about transgender. Oh, well, now I gotta tell the parent, right? So it's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
And like I,
Yeah.
but the point I'm making is I would absolutely want the teacher to be informing me of these things. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Should they be compelled to? I don't know.
Um, it just occurred to me that it's not another example on that line, but it's like a really similar comparison case. Um, what if the kid talks to a bishop instead of a teacher? Bishops are not legally obligated to tell you anything.
Uh-huh.
So the kid could tell the bishop, I'm sexually active, I've got the piercings, I'm changing my religion, politics, or even that they're trans or lesbian or gay or bisexual. Bishops are not legally obligated to tell you anything as the parents.
Right. Yeah.
Should they be?
That's a good question. I mean, I know that like in some, I mean, I'm just talking generally in like my religion, they're trying to include the parents more in these conversations. And so like and parents are invited to like these conversations and so they're clearly trying, they're making efforts too. But if a minor went to a clergy or something in confidence and then and confess something, then yeah, can they? Like that's, or should they? Right, that's a great question, right? That's hard.
So are we carving out an exception for religious clergy, but mandating that school teachers have to do this?
Well, I'm my argument's exactly the same. I'm saying they should, but I don't know if they should be compelled to, is what I'm saying. But like the problem is like there are large implications there, right? Of like hormones treatments and uh there's some consequences that I think that the family needs to be involved in. Are the consequences for the other ones? Oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
like it, to me, it's family first. The state should never have first say, or even the right to discern on these issues, right? Never, never. I mean,
Mhm.
like there are horror things about Romanian governments, right? And how they
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we know best. We're gonna start making decisions here, and like bad, bad, bad results. And like,
And I get what you're saying, right? There are certainly it can go the other way, but then I immediately go and here's the weird part, right? Like when I'm talking about this with my students, it's a conversation about religion, right? When we have parents who refuse medical care for their kids, right?
yeah,
And the kids die,
yeah,
right? I
mhm,
raise the question with my students and I say, okay, should the state intervene? And immediately their knee jerk response inevitably is absolutely, right? If there's evidence that the parents are
right,
withholding medical treatment, or there was a classic case in the state of Washington a few years ago where the parents were just feeding their child watermelon, right?
hmm
The child died, right? Like watermelon does not have sufficient nutritional value to keep a child alive. And they were doing that from like almost birth, right?
hmm
The
hmm
child at like 6 years old weighed 30 pounds or something. Like, I mean, it was horrific neglect. The students immediately say, yes, the state should
right,
intervene,
right,
right? And I can't necessarily disagree, but then of course I do the same thing. I play devil's advocate and I start running these different scenarios. So I'm like, okay,
yes,
well, what if the parents are teaching the kid that if you masturbate, you're going to go to hell? And they're like, well, that's more complicated. And I'm like, okay, so where do we draw the line?
right, yes, exactly,
Right. And
yeah,
I think it's a fair question, right? And usually the students will put it back at me. They're like, well, where should we draw the line? And I was like, I don't actually know.
right.
I don't have an answer to that,
I'm not
right?
your moral guide.
Yes, I'm here to ask questions and make you
The
think. Then you have to wrestle with where you think you would draw the line.
so you heard that I got, I'm sure you heard about this, that I got basically like pulled over by the police because I let my son walk home.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, you did tell me about this.
yeah,
Yeah.
so let him walk home from school. He was being a complete a-hole,
Yeah.
and I was like, "All right, get out. You're walking," and it was like 4 miles. And so I left, and I'm like, I dropped the kids off, and then I came back, and I'm like, I don't know where the heck he is. And I find him, like, maybe a quarter, half mile up from where I left, dropped him off, and there's no sidewalk here. So it's like he's walking in this like irrigation ditch. And I go, and like, so the cop's there's a cop there, like driving alongside the kid. I pull up and I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go. All right. Hey, thanks, police officer. Right. And I'm like trying to like play it off. And he's like, well, you can't just leave your kid, right? And I was like, oh. And so it kind of goes back and forth. And he's like, well, okay, I've left it. He had me out of the car, and he had all this stuff, right? And he had several other officers like surrounded, like standing around me, right? And they finally let me go. And they're like, I put this with the DA's office. I'll let them decide if they're going to charge you or not, right? And it's a gray area.
It is a gray area, yes.
And I got home, and Utah had just that day, I read the headline. It said Utah passes free range parenting act, and it's basically, I think it specifically said can do things like stay at home by themselves, and walk home from school. And I was like, okay, right. And I'm like,
The Tommy Triplet free range law.
Yeah. At the very end, it was like, you're off the hook, Tommy. And I was like,
good thing I bribed those politicians. Woo woo.
Yeah, no, seriously. But this is this is the issue is, right, you have parents do really stupid stuff. I mean, lock their kids up, chain them up, right?
Yes, terrible.
And horrible things. But you're like, I will eat. But here's the thing: is there is a pendulum, and we're not allowing our children to do nearly as much as we should be. In fact, we are destroying them, in that we're making things are too safe, and kids can't do many things for themselves, and they're weak and unprepared for the world. And I think this is actually becoming a bigger danger than them breaking their arm, or these other dangers. And I think Utah recognized that, and they were like, okay, we need to allow parents, we need to give them a little bit of a longer leash, because a 12-year-old get left at home, and the mom would get called the police on, right? And like this kind of stuff is just or kids traveling on the subway, and they called the police on the parents because they let their kid go home on the subway who's 12, right? And you're like, we're losing our minds. And so it's like, where do you go? And I'm like, there's like, okay, well, there's this and there's this and that, and I have to pick one way or the other, and I'm going to go with the parents. I'm like, it has to be the family that you have to default.
I mean, isn't it grayer than that though, Tom? Like, can't there be situations where it's like, generally I side with the family? Because I think I would say, like, I agree with you. I generally would side with the family.
No,
but there are people who are just totally incompetent, and people who are dangerous, and we just shouldn't let them have kids. Like,
well,
that's bad, right? Like, we have to care about the kids too.
We like, my abortion stance and my Second Amendment stance is that we need to allow people to make really stupid decisions. And like, that's my stance, is like, abortion is a stupid decision. We need to let people do that, right? And like, Second Amendment, killing people with a gun, that was pretty dumb. We need to let people do that. And like, it sounds crazy, but like, yeah, there are Thomas Sowell, right? There are no solutions. There's only trade-offs. And the trade-off for having a free government, and like, the body count for governments is like so much higher than, gang related crime, that it's not even comparable. Right. And so it's like, the trade-off is, we have people shoot people, and sometimes even almost assassinate the president. But like, that's the trade-off for living in this country where we get to be free, right? And not have a, totalitarian government. Right.
So I guess the last question that I would ask here, or kind of point that I would make, is, there's kind of the famous adage, your rights end where mine begin, right? Like, we're always negotiating this. Don't kids have a right to privacy?
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. I would say no.
None.
I would say no.
No privacy whatsoever.
I mean, I know that's a nuance. There's much more nuance, right? And then you could come up with some situations where they should be more private. But like, if I have to say yes or no, I say no. Like, if I have to err on one side or the other, no, right? I'm not going to say yes. I mean, that seems like such a bad idea. Like, I can give you 1,000 examples on the yes side, right? Where it's like, this is a really bad idea. And you'll be like, oh yeah, that is a bad idea. And there's something bad on the no. I have to err on one. I'm gonna say no, no. The family, you have to defer to the family. The family is the unit that our societies are based on. We have to involve the family. The family has to be involved. Are there really horrible families that make really horrible decisions? Yes, absolutely. Right? Who probably shouldn't have kids and probably get them taken away after the dumb decisions they make? Yeah, 100% gonna happen. But
And if
like
we know in
I
advance
would
that it's going to be bad,
I would much
we still let it happen.
the point the problem is government policy is scalable. Bad families usually like out themselves, right? Like they make, it's not a scalable thing. Governments are scalable. Policy is scalable, right? Like mass policy, a really bad mass policy will destroy a country. A really bad family will destroy a few lives, right? That so you have to defer to the family. Like it's like they overall will make the better decision. Governments can't be trusted with that. There's too much history of like
Hmm.
making incredibly bad policy decisions that affect the lives of millions. And you're like, there's too much history to be like, yeah, I have to choose one. So it's like, I'll choose family.
Interesting. So, I mean, I think we can wrap up here,
I thought
but
you brought up some great examples though. Like that's
okay.
hard. Great, great,
Well,
great area.
yeah. The interesting thing is like I think I largely agree with you. I would just have exceptions, right? And I
Yes.
think I would side on like there have to be exceptions. We have to protect kids at times when like we know that they're going to be threatened. So generally, do I want to default to the family? Yeah, absolutely, right? And this has gotten really tricky again in my conversations with my students,
Mm.
where they know that I'm not a believer, I'm not religious, right? Um, so they'll ask me questions like, well, should parents be allowed to teach their kids? Like, you're going to go to hell if you just do this, that, or the other and sin and all these things. And I'm like, you know what? If I say that they're not allowed to do that and the government is going to stipulate that, then what is the government going to say that I'm not allowed to teach my kid?
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of siding with you on this point
Because
where
it
it's
comes
like,
back on you at
yeah,
some
like
point.
you
Yeah.
got to be really careful about where we let the government in and where we say like, no, this is actually a family issue. And I think where I would probably draw the line is when it's the safety of the kid, right? Like their physical safety. As soon as we hit that line, then I start to go, no, this is too gray for there to just be solid rules of like family get to do whatever they want. At that
Like
point, I think we have to intervene is
a
where I would
hundred,
probably
I
draw the line.
100% agree with you, but I just don't see anything wrong with saying, okay, I have to tell the parent this, but I'm also going to tell the local social services and the law enforcement, right? And I'm also going to say, hey, I think there's some risk here, right? And social service is going to come to your house tonight and be like, hey, I heard you just heard about that Billy's, got this
Friends.
issue
Yeah.
thing. I need to make sure that he's going to be safe, right? Because there is suspicion that you might be in danger, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? And like, I have to
That's a
tell
more
you,
nuanced position. Okay.
just be like, I have to tell you, but I feel like there's risks here. And that happens today, right? That happens today. Like, I feel like the child's at risk. I'm going to call these services, right? And like, that's totally there. It's just what I don't think is happening is this compelling the teachers and the state to talk to the family. And I think that should happen. So that's really interesting that California's passed that, and which is basically the opposite of what Utah's done.
Hmm.
And
And
so
they did that
that's,
intentionally, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
lots of states are going one way and they're going the other way and saying, no, you don't have to have that obligation.
So,
Interesting.
so
Okay.
interesting.
Anything else you want to add?
No, good subject. That was great.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good conversation. Um, this is how all political conversations should go.
If Biden and Trump would just sit down on a podcast, let's go through this. I'm sure they could really make some strides.
Oh my gosh. Maybe not Biden and Trump. Let's get some more like, yeah, Biden would fall asleep and Trump would just yell at him the whole time.
Beat him over
So
the head.
yeah, I know. Let's get other people who could actually communicate. All right, we're gonna wrap it up there. Thanks everybody. There will be probably a break for a while. I've got a bunch of travel, so we'll be back as soon as we can, but take care.
Josh, we may not always agree when it comes to politics, even though we're trying, but there is one thing we agree on. There is only one way to clean up after going to the bathroom, and that's with a Lux bidet.
I've been a proud owner of a Lux bidet for years. I have literally owned a Lux Neo 320 since 2013. That's the warm water model. Talk about happy, fun, poopy time. When I leave the bathroom, I know I'm clean and ready to talk politics in a civilized manner.
Exactly. Using a toilet without a bidet is about as uncivilized as it gets. Civil conversations demand civil hygiene practices.
And that is why our listeners should get themselves a Lux bidet.
And just to be clear, Lux is not supporting one side or the other in this podcast. They support civil conversations and clean butts.
Listeners can get their own Lux bidet with 10% off by ordering at luxbidet.com and using our promo code FCBG10, Finding Common Battlegrounds 10.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. The music is by Ben Sound. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not those of their employers. For more information or more episodes, you can find us at findingcommonbattlegrounds.com.